surprisingly, this game 15 years ago was terrible. And now it's one of the better matchups this weekend early in the season. What is up, everybody? It is Jake back with Master Football. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things college football, hit that red subscribe button, hit the like button, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you like EA college football content, go subscribe to my other channel, the MF Film Room. Link is in the description. But enough about all that college football content. Let's go. Well, hello, everybody. Here we are. It is the beginning of week 4 in college football. There is so much action coming up. And about this time of the year, you're able to kind of see which teams are really trying to separate themselves early. I actually had a video just the other week where I basically stated that Arizona State really needed to beat Mississippi State because of the impression of Mississippi State being one of the middle to lower level SEC teams and Arizona State being one of the higher level SEC or Big 12 teams. One issue with that, though, first of all, one issue is, and I heard Joel Klatt say this, I heard a bunch of people say this, they need to just not do preseason rankings because they have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, Florida State, how good, I hate to say that, of a loss for Alabama will that be later in the season when we find out that Florida State is 9-3, 10-2? That's a tough place to play. The fact that, they're unranked, it doesn't, dude, if you're ranked and you end the season not going to a bowl game, it shouldn't count as a ranked victory. There should be some rules about that. But enough about all that. From what I can see right now, there are 5 undefeated matchups between 3-0 FBS teams this week. That's the parameters that we're looking at there. Undefeated versus undefeated, at least 3-0. Problem with that is there's a couple teams that are 2-0. The teams that are 3-0 are a quarter through their regular season. I know conference championships and stuff, but those are some big matchups. There's 5 that I can count. We're going to order them from least intriguing to me to most intriguing. I think there's some intrigue to all of them, but I'm going to rank them from 5 to 1. Let's get into that list right now. All right, so first is undefeated Michigan State visiting undefeated USC, 3-0 versus 3-0. Now, one weird thing about this game. Listen, I like Jade Maeva. I like Aiden Childs. Aiden Childs, former Oregon State commit. Jade Maeva, former UNLV player. I like these guys a lot. One big issue with this game, and you can see that this matchup predictor, according to ESPN Analytics, and we all know that that can be, let's just say it has a SEC bias in some instances. We're just saying that. The problem with this game is 9 p.m. That's 9 p.m. my time. I'm Mountain Time. So this is 11 p.m. East Coast time. So that Big Ten matchup, one person said, the reaping of adding USC and all these West Coast schools is cool, but the sowing is now you have to play a game you're going to be playing into like 2 a.m. for your regulatory clock. With a biological clock? No, regulatory clock? I don't know. Either way, this game's going to be really late on TV. Right now, it has USC as a 17.5 point favorite, according to Las Vegas. So we'll see what happens here. USC, I think that, I'm interested to see what they are. This is kind of one of those games where, like, you're projected to win. You should win. You're Lincoln Riley. You got $1 bazillion. Can you win this game? We will see. And coming in at number 4, we have the Tulane Green Wave visiting the Ole Miss Rebels. Jake Retzlaff, the BYU, we all remember the whole situation with, he did this to me, and then it was never really proved in court, and he got kicked off the team because he admitted to having, he broke the honor code, blah, blah, blah. Well, this game right here, Ole Miss, coming fresh off their victory over my former Boise State Bronco, Taylon Green at Arkansas. They are currently an 11.5 point favorite. I mean, I think that Ole Miss, it's at home. They've got, Austin Simmons is injured, but they've got, a good little backup. I forgot what his name is. He had the coolest little name, but they've got a good backup. Ole Miss, I think they're going to handle business here. Tulane is a good program. They're a very, very good program here, but we'll see what happens to them. Ultimately, I think that Ole Miss comes away with this victory here. And coming in at number 3 here, we have the Auburn Tigers visiting the Oklahoma Sooners. These lines for these games are getting a little bit shorter. We saw 17.5 for USC, 17.5 favorite points for USC. Ole Miss was favored by 11.5. This right here is only 6.5 for the Oklahoma Sooners. We have Jackson Arnold, the former Oklahoma starter, coming over to Auburn and now visiting his former home, so to say, in college football. We have John Mateer, again, connection to Boise State. Played at Washington State last year. I couldn't tell this dude was a dog. They were off to a really, really good start. Kind of trailed off at the end of the season there. But John Mateer, the thing about him is he's kind of like their running game and their passing game. He's kind of their entire offense there, but he's a really, really good player. He's like kind of that little jitterbug. He's a little bit thicker, I think, than Kyler Murray or a couple of those other small quarterbacks. The guy from Florida State, Tommy Castellanos. Those guys who are small and jitterbuggy. He's not as fast. He's a little bit thicker. He's definitely got good quicks. I think that they're ultimately going to take care of business here because Auburn's definitely a running team. But I think the Oklahoma, what they did to Michigan, the fact they were able to stop their run, their running styles are a little bit different, and their offensive styles are a little bit different. But I think that Oklahoma probably going to handle this one here. They're currently favored 6.5. I think they should take this one solidly. I actually picked them minus 6.5, so hopefully they win by 7. But that is my pick. And our number 2 spot, the Illinois Fighting Illini, visiting the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers in a Big Ten matchup. And I looked at this and I saw it. I was like, why is Indiana, who's ranked number 19, favored by 4, now it's 4.5, versus the number 9 team in the country? Well, I think it's because there's a couple of things that are battling against Illinois. Illinois, solid football program, but Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, they've got a good thing going on there. They've got Kurt Signetti. This is an interesting matchup. It's weird because I picked Illinois to go over 7.5 wins on the season, but I picked Indiana to win this game here. If you look at both their schedules, this is an interesting one. This is kind of a contender or pretender matchup. Again, these are both undefeated teams, so you'll find out after the game. But Indiana right now, oddly ranked and oddly favored by Vegas by a couple of scores. This is one where I keep my eye on if you are a gambler there, because that 4 points, I'm like, does Vegas know something? Vegas usually knows something. Illinois visiting Indiana. Surprisingly, this game 15 years ago was terrible. And now it's one of the better matchups this weekend early in the season. And now for our number 1 slot, we have the Texas Tech Red Raiders visiting the Utah Utes at big noon kickoff. I don't know if it's going to be big noon kickoff, but it's 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So I'm Mountain Time. So this game is massive. I had mentioned earlier about the fact that Arizona State needed to go and get a victory at Mississippi State. They had a crazy game. They lost that game. But this game right here, now we've got to kind of see the whole season, see what people have done, see Texas Tech blow out Oregon State, see Utah go 3-0. This is a really, really good matchup coming up this weekend that is going to be huge in the Big 12 race. The Big 12 race, I'm telling you guys right now, the SEC is going to be a cool conference to watch, obviously. I like a lot of those games. The Big 10 just feels like it's a bunch of contenders and a lot of pretenders. So there's like 4 or 5 teams in the Big 10, and then 12 to 13 teams that are like, whatever. The Big 12, you got to watch every week because you just don't know. This is a classic example. These are NFL lines right here. 3.5, the Utah Utes. The Utah Utes, remember last year, were really good early in the season. Lots of injuries at quarterback. Ultimately, they faltered down the stretch in that tough Big 12 conference. Well, Texas Tech visits. Texas Tech is a really good team. They were favored by a bazillion versus Oregon State. They won. Utah, Devin Dampier, transfer from New Mexico. He is their leading rusher. He's their leading passer. He kind of plays the same way as John Mateer in that way where it's like he's the offense. Utah's always been a pretty good defensive team. It's going to be at home. I have a couple friends who are going to be going to this game. It's going to be absolutely massive, big for the Big 12. This is one of those marquee matchups that people have been looking at for a couple weeks here. The Big 12 is a little bit different because the SEC and the Big 10 bias, they're always going to rank those teams higher. These two teams are real. Nobody wants to go to Lubbock to visit Texas Tech, and nobody wants to go to Salt Lake to visit Utah. Both of these teams playing right here could be in line for one of the top spots in the Big 12 going forward. That Big 12 matchup between Utah and Texas Tech, that's one of those games that it sucks that the Pac-12 fell apart and all the conference realignment and blah, blah, blah. This is one of those games we wouldn't have gotten, and now we're getting. It is going to be huge. That 3.5-point line is crazy. I also think that there's a couple of the games I'm watching out there, but this one right here, this undefeated matchup between those two, that's my number 1. What matchups are you most interested in between undefeated teams? Get in the comments right now and let me know. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. I am out.